was a good vibe.
That was a nice vibe.
Welcome to our first debut episode of Coffee and Conversations with a Twist.
With a twist.
I'm Cindy.
And I'm Heidi.
And this is our poetic platform.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Heidi.
How you doing?
We did it.
I know, look at us. So our first podcast, we're going to keep this theme,
podcast,
right?
yeah.
We're going to keep our theme of
something new.
Something
is what we're
new.
gonna call this. Something new.
Right? So it's more than a new beginning because
It is.
we're not beginning.
Nope.
I mean, it feels like we've known each other a long time.
But
It's just
we
been a little
haven't.
while, right?
Let's let the cat out the bag.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, for our audience members,
Yes.
we just met not even 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we totally hit it off. And that's why this episode is being called Something New. Because
Right.
Heidi's a very new friend,
Yes.
associate. In
Kindred.
other words,
We're
exactly.
kindreds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is that when we met, we talked about everything else except poetry. Like poetry didn't come in until much later into the conversation.
Until the next time we met up. And
yeah,
we were
we
like,
spoke.
oh,
We spoke professionally at first.
we did.
And sorry, my headphones. We spoke professionally at first
yeah.
about all kinds of things, and then we found out that bam, we're poets.
Hello, Cindy has a whole book, etc.
Thank
Multiple
you.
books, right?
I have multiple books.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on one. Thanks to Heidi's surprise.
Aw.
Just really quick,
How did
Heidi,
that go?
she put me on to a 30 for 30. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
So 30 poets are doing 30 poems for 30 days, and
It's National Poetry Month.
it's National
April.
Poetry Month. Shout out to
Yeah.
all the poets out there, all the great poets out
Hey,
there.
hey.
And so I've made it my endeavor to try to do the 30 poems.
Yeah.
And
How's it going?
it's going great. I'm at 25.
I'm at 4.
I'm at 25 poems, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Because
I love it.
And it's so funny because I went on vacation and I went where I didn't have any Wi-Fi.
Right.
And I panicked because I said, oh my God, because you're supposed to post every day, at least try to post every day, right?
Something, yeah.
Right. And so I was on vacation. But I kept writing, and I was like, you know what, Cindy,
Yeah.
it's okay, keep going. Because I wanted to challenge myself to something new.
Right.
And this is something new for me to be on a platform with other poets, like the people who I've never seen, don't know. I have no faces to these poets.
Right.
So I wanted to challenge myself. And I thank you. And so I said all
Yeah.
that to say I'm going to put that in the book.
Well, yeah. Aw, Cindy, I love that.
And it's dedicated to Heidi. It's called 30 for 30, and it's dedicated to you. So right after
Maybe
National
I can have a
Poetry
little
Month.
poem in there. I got a couple.
Yeah.
So this is my second year doing this podcast, and shout out to my boy Dwayne,
Okay.
who put me onto this last year.
Yeah.
We connected through poetry through a mutual friend actually a couple years ago, similar to how we did, but very poetry based.
Wow.
And the three of us were this poetry group. And last year, or maybe it was even the year before, he said, so, hey, there's this thing. And he invited me to it. It's a lot to keep up with.
It is.
It's a lot. Because there's several members. There's like a good 30 plus
And these
members.
are dynamic poets.
So good. And it's this beautiful community, though, that really reads each other's stuff, and you might not get to all of them, but you'll read one or two, and you comment on it and back and forth, and it's great. I love it, and I don't hold pressure to myself to do all 30.
Absolutely.
Because also writer's block is real.
Well,
especially
it's
after
interesting
COVID.
because I write through inspiration, right?
Mhm.
And what I like about this platform, especially being a poet myself, it's not restrictive. Meaning,
Right.
it's not saying, well, you just have to do haikus, or you have to do rhythmic, or you have to do because the very first poem I wrote, I dedicated it to a quarreling couple. Right? And they quarreled the entire night. They were in earshot of me.
Yeah.
They were my neighbors. Copyright alleged neighbors. But anywho, they were arguing the whole night before the first National Poetry Month. And the next day it was total silence. And I said, now, what do you think? How did they just do this all night long, rock my nerves, and the next day it's complete silence?
You know what? Sometimes, relationships.
Yeah,
we've both been in our share of
exactly.
interesting relationships where one moment it's so volatile, and the next moment you're like, all right, we're good.
Exactly.
Or you're not.
So
we've both been on both of those ends. But yeah.
So for National Poetry Month, I guess maybe we should both just read the first poem that we submitted. And so the first poem that I did, and I should have all these queued up, but it's okay because
mine's a little rough because it was. So I actually started pre-writing before because I was amped up for it. I was ready, and I didn't think I was going to do all 30.
Right.
But then, like, there was another school shooting. And Cindy, you and I have talked about this. And I left teaching last year because all of this and just the dynamic around this. And, you know, the prompt was that face.
Right.
And I saw this picture of this one little girl on the school bus that tears. And, like, that face sits with me.
Did it happen on the bus? The shooting?
No, the shooting happened in the school. It was an elementary school.
See, this is
and so I will read this one
yes,
because
please. This is not right. All
the
right.
prompt was that face. And you'll see I just make a Google Doc for the whole thing with
Mhm,
prompts and then I just add to it.
Yeah.
So I have several prompts, that face that inspires.
And
I
this is
didn't
the
write
first
anything for
poem
that.
that you-
Yeah.
I want to hear
And
it.
I wanted to write one, that face that inspires, that face that gives me butterflies. You know who you are. And also, this is the one that I actually did write in that moment. This is the one that came to me. It's called
Absolutely.
The Face That Haunts.
Okay.
I see that face, the one that haunts my dreams and my schemes and all of my decisions in the most subtle way possible. I see that face as I stand and deliver while knees ache and quiver and I fall by the wayside in disbelief. I see that face as I once again cry and desperately try to channel my anger into literally anything that's not shouting into the wind. I see that face streaming with tears at just under 10 years as it stares out the bus window in shock and pain at another senseless loss.
You see, this is why we need poetry. Can I give it to you? Can
Girl,
I
yes,
give
thank
it to
you.
Heidi's work has just floored me from the first time. I'm serious. Like, no, you
I
are
appreciate
really great.
you.
No, you know what? I like poets that I can follow and flow with.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Right.
just the kind of poetry that I like. And my condolences to the family of the young child. That
Well,
was killed.
it was several teachers and students, elementary,
You see,
less than 10 years old.
this is
And
horrible.
you know, this opens up a whole nother conversation. And that's not, our podcast is about chat and we can get to that at some point. But it's heavy.
It is heavy. It weighs heavy on your heart. And there's so many stories ripped from the headlines that I have poems that I can just go to and say, I wrote this because this happened.
Yeah.
I wrote this because it was breaking news.
Yeah.
I'm like, in those type of things like that, it's so therapeutic to write them down.
Last year, 30 for 30 happened during COVID.
You see?
Right? And the year before that, it was like right as COVID was breaking. And like, so a lot of my poems there were like, I feel it coming. Like I feel this unsettling in the air. And I mean, I can go back to that. But, you know, like it is just sort of like where we're at in time and where we're at in things.
And where you're at as a person.
Right.
Right. What you're feeling that day, that moment.
Oh my gosh.
And
Processing those emotions
Yeah.
that we're feeling constantly. Like it just goes.
Yeah. And I love this podcast because it's like, you know, we have our coffee or, you know, it's coffee and conversations with a twist. So our viewers have to know, you might tune in one day and we may have something else that we're doing. Today we're doing coffee. And we're drinking Starbucks coffee. So shout out to Starbucks. It's one of my favorites. But I like this platform because poetically speaking, it gives us a moment to kind of flow conversation straight through the whole poetic movement. So it's just not like roses are red, violets are blue. It's far more deeper than that. And it's just us, so we don't have to wait for our name to be called on the card.
Right?
I love that. I love that because
love an open mic.
Yeah.
However,
I love open mic, but you have to
out.
wait until your name is called, and you got all, you know. But this is our platform.
Yeah.
So this was my first poem, that I wrote, and I'm sorry, I thought I had it queued up. Let me see. I thought I had it queued up. We're going to work on this. I'm going to have, but you see, the thing is that being at this coffee and conversations, we don't even know where the conversation is going to take us.
Right. So we don't know which poem we're going to.
We don't know which poem that we're going to. So
a few years ago, I decided because of this exact same thing, like I put everything on Google Docs and I label it poem dot whatever. So I can just like search poem when I go into Google Docs, and it might take a little bit to kind of look through to find, but like, oh, maybe I have a keyword or something.
I've learned to use keywords. I've learned to use keywords because I have so much poetry and I'm always writing.
I know.
So I've learned to use keywords.
And these moments come up. So let's hear what you got.
So this was my first one.
Poem, 30 for 30.
And you know what? And I'm going to tell you, it was actually written for one. So again, you know, I was hearing all this rhetoric the night before and I was like this. You know, I mean, everybody argues. I mean, it's just the nature of being imperfect. We're going to argue. We're going to disagree. But this one was one that I was sitting in my living room like, you got
it's
to
the
be
nature
kidding.
of life together.
And then the next morning, it was so quiet.
Yeah.
And so I said in the chat, I said, in honor of National Poetry Month, I dedicate this poem to this. So here it goes. It's called All That.
Go,
It's called All That Energy. All that energy just to say I hate you?
Mm.
Couldn't you just say I love you?
Mm.
Hate is such a strong word. We don't meet with the intention to hate, we bond with the intention to love. So, how did hate creep into the picture? Do I hate you? Or do I hate myself because I'm still here? Actually loving you, not hating you. Loving you too much to move on, so I use the word hate as a mask to hide my own fate that I really am not going anywhere and I don't want you to go anywhere either. So I scream and yell and shout absurdities and insults just to make the atmosphere believe that I'm in charge of my heart. My bellows and cries are for ears, not eyes, ears of anyone who would listen and agree with me that I hate you. And I hate myself too, because we're still here, caught up in yesterdays and tomorrows. This is our lover's sorrow. I wish we can be like the birds, love birds that fly high into the sky like nothing ever happened. We're not birds, we're human. We have feelings and emotions, and today's notion is I hate you, I hate me too, because somehow we just love not getting this thing together. It's just us, the two of us, trying to figure out what to do with all that energy. That's what I said.
Yes, let's give it up for Cindy for a second. Cheers with our coffee, girl. Cheers, ching ching. It's plastic, so you can't hear it.
Cheers with our coffee.
What are you drinking today?
I am drinking one of my favorites from Starbucks, which is iced caramel latte.
Yes.
With whipped cream. It has to have whipped cream.
Right.
And drizzle.
What are you doing without? What are you doing with your life?
And you know what? You just witness what happens when it's not right. What do? I do an about face and I go, excuse me.
Yep.
Because at the prices of Starbucks, you should have an excuse me moment. Will you say?
Get it right.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, and no one's perfect, right?
No.
And no one's whatever.
Give me my extra whipped cream, please.
Right? Give me that whipped cream.
Yes.
Fill it to the top.
Please.
That's what we're here for.
So
it's podcast day.
Yes. We have a special guest. Can we introduce him, please?
Yes. So there is a video happening. I don't know what's gonna happen with this video, but if you happen to see it in the video, this is Stanley, Flat Stanley, if you will.
Hi, Flat Stanley.
Hey. So he is visiting from Ohio. My cousin's daughter, Rilo, is doing the school project.
Okay.
So she's a first grader. And when my daughter was in first grade, she also did a Flat Stanley project we sent to her grandpa, my dad in Ohio. So it's based on a book character.
Oh, wow.
Stanley takes all these adventures around the world. Wow. Something happens and he becomes flat. When I explained it, I realized it's
so cute,
traumatic, but it's not. Like, it is lighthearted and cute.
So he doesn't get injured in turning flat. No, right.
But he just flattens and he becomes a flat person now. And
Flat Stanley.
He can fit into all these different places that you couldn't fit into if you weren't flat. And he can fit into envelopes. So he goes on these adventures around the world. So these classes, these schools do this project where they send it out places, right? It could be like, the next town over. It could be another state. It could be whatever. They just happen to know me in New York City. Right. Perfect timing, no job Heidi, for that moment that we've had so many adventures in the last month, including this podcast right now. I didn't realize.
Well, welcome, Flat Stanley.
Thanks.
And guess what? Of course.
What do you got?
A poem for Flat Stanley.
You have a poem for Stanley?
Yes, I do.
Flat
Stanley. I have a poem for everything.
I know, right?
So,
we have poems
if you
for
don't
everything.
mind, I would like to read it. This one is called Invisible Friend.
Oh, perfect.
So, Flat Stanley, this is for you because you're not a human, but you are somebody. So this is for you. It's called Invisible Friend.
Yes.
I shall not complain no more. Nobody's listening. Very few can fix it. Those old raw feelings and unresolved problems just rolls off my tongue, wasting my energy and getting blocked by the listener. Young children make invisible friends. Aren't they smart? We can learn a lot from the play of a child, so I'll just take a while to develop my special invisible friend. But what will I call him or her? After all, they're exclusively made for my needs. Therefore, they will listen and encourage, brighten my day, and not discourage any thoughts, goals, or intentions. Like a light bulb, they won't be switching. I can talk to them day or night, argue, scream, fuss, or fight, and never once will my invisible friend accuse me of being cray-cray. After all, didn't I say that they don't exist? Let me not forget how this invisible friend will bring a fresh ear to my vent and not remind me of all the mistakes I've already made. Hey, It's like basking in the shade of luxury, a beautiful discovery, something just for me. So no complaining anymore. I open a new door for my special, one of a kind, over the top, loyal, dedicated, best invisible friend in the whole wide world. Now, what should I call him or her?
Flat Stanley! This is so Flat Stanley because honestly, like, okay, so my kids are grown. They're
Right.
21 and 19.
Right.
And so we're not having these adventures anymore, right? And I do have my niece and nephew who are 4 and almost 2.
Right.
And we have some adventures, but Stanley and I have been on so many adventures. And
it's a pleasure to meet you, Stanley.
yes. And he has so many t-shirts. We're making a scrapbook. I've made him. Oh my gosh. So he is my invisible friend. And actually, to kind of follow up with that, today I had this little manic bout of like creative insanity as I was waiting for a new tattoo, as I was like, I had done a bunch of work in the morning. I was waiting for the new tattoo. I was thinking about the podcast. I was like, my brain is going 5,000 miles a minute. And this is one of the little, it's so short. One of the little poems I wrote doesn't even have a title.
Okay.
But it speaks to
untitled.
this.
We have that's the thing about poets. We have thousands of untitles.
Oh gosh. We just have a bunch of thoughts, right? Yes. Okay. I'm well-rounded in my insanity. Equal opportunity in my journey down the rabbit hole, up the beanstalk, and walking down the street. There's no path my mania won't take, no fossil my depression won't dig up. There's no handle my anxiety hasn't held on to, and no thought I'm willing to think, unthink, and think again. And that's it.
To think, unthink,
think, and think again.
That's something that we don't even realize that we do, because it's okay to unthink. It's totally okay to unthink a situation and then think about it again. Because sometimes we find ourselves getting so like this. I mean, like literally, I'm just being animated, but we just bang our brain so much and we just force all these thoughts. And it's okay just to unthink it for a little while.
It is.
And just rethink it again. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, my little insanity poem, I have many, but
yeah, I do too.
Right. Because we do both have this partnership, I guess, with different mental illnesses. I don't really like to call them mental illnesses, but they're different mental abilities at different times, right? They serve us in ways that we don't understand because we are not there with them usually, right? We're fighting against them.
I was on a train the other day, and then right now my car is not working. She's working, but she just needs to go to the doctor, and I haven't taken her to the doctor
yet. She just needs
a
little rest.
Yeah, she just needs to go to the doctor right now. But anywho, I'm on a train right now, and because I'm just a native New Yorker, so I'm just jump right into the New York thing.
That's what you got to do.
And exactly, that's the whole thing about being a Brooklynite, through and through. Shout out to mom and dad who let us, travel and things of that nature. So I'm not afraid of the MTA, stand clear of the closing doors, please. So the other day I'm on a train and I see a passenger.
Yeah.
And she's sitting so comfortably and so confidently, and she has on these blue suede shoes that were indeed loafers. Ooh. And in the loafers, there were pennies in the loafers.
Loafers.
Yeah. And I sat there and I pinned this poem on the train.
Yes.
And the viewers, I know they can't see, but there's her shoes.
Uh-huh.
And you see the pennies.
Yes.
And I wrote this little piece. It's called Magic Shoes.
They're so pretty. They're like this nice pale blue.
But she had the pennies in it. And I'm going to tell you why this meant so much to me. But I'll read the poem first.
Yes, please.
It's called Magic Shoes. I got my pennies in my loafers, and that there is my 2 cents. Can't worry about life. Staying focused makes more sense. I got to be about my day, do all I can do to make a way, and leave all I can handle for God. No room to walk with complexity. It's worse than a junkie taking a nod. I got pennies in my loafers, and with pride I take each step. My vision is very focused. My aim is very clear. And my goals, there are many left. So it's just me and my penny loafers making my life statement clear. No need for hard boots and uncomfortable shoes. It's penny loafers I'll wear.
Penny loafers. Like, sometimes you just got to go with what's there for you.
That's why I'm saying you have to think and unthink. And sometimes we think too much, and that's why I added the hard shoes and the boots. Sometimes we make life complex.
We think ourselves out of things, right? We think ourselves out of things that bring us joy.
We do.
Right? And I saw recently, it was actually a t-shirt, and it said, stop rescheduling joy. Right?
Stop rescheduling joy.
Man.
Seriously.
Like, at first glance, I was like, that's great. And then like I keep coming back to it. Like we think ourselves out of joy so many times.
We do.
And we just gotta like pause and say, what are those moments that bring us joy?
Exactly.
And like the whole day can just be the worst, but like what was that one joy moment, or like what's gonna reground me in joy in this moment?
I like that.
Right?
And it's so funny because when you think joy, I can't think about joy without thinking about goals.
Yeah.
And I can't think about goals without thinking about goals that's unattached to what you have to do. Too many times people create these goals and they create them around what they have to do. Like we have to work, we have to do
the to-dos.
And I think when we get older, we forget that it's okay to have a hobby.
Yes.
And that's where your joy is at. And you can't
schedule it.
Yeah. And come back to this podcast. Like going back to you and I meeting. I have to keep saying it because this is our debut.
True.
So I can't get tired of saying how we met. Totally random. Didn't know each other from a can of paint.
We were in a line together. A line.
And we just started talking. And now we're here.
Yeah.
And that's part of having that joy, part of being happy. And this is totally away from all of my to-dos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is
my fun. I'm having fun.
I agree. Me too. And, I recently, I have several friends who are neurodivergent in many ways. I'm a special ed teacher. So I deal with neurodivergence in so many different ways, right? And like just different ways of thinking, different ways of coming at tasks. Wow. Because you have to, because not everyone can come at a task the same way. They just don't have that same connection point. And that's just part of being human.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
So one of my friends said that instead of a to-do list, they have a to-da list. Oh. And so it might be things that you have
ta-da.
to ta-da.
You know what?
A to-da list, if you will.
Okay, I like that.
Right?
She's not saying to die. She's saying something else.
I'm sorry. Yeah, ta-da.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. So like those to-do things, some of them are going to be your regular things, right? Like, okay, got to do the dishes, grocery shopping, laundry, whatever, right? Oh, okay, I got to do those random paperwork, whatever. Right. But then we have our to-da moments like, ooh, schedule that podcast. Ooh, make a call to Cindy. Ooh, make a call to whatever. Or send a quick text over. Like we can schedule those things, but they can also just show up. Now, me and my internal so on and so forth, I know that if I don't put it on a calendar, if I don't write it somewhere, like I've just started using something called Keep Notes. I don't even have to look at it ever again, but the act of writing it down brings that ta-da. Like, oh yeah, right, we're gonna do that. But if I don't do that, like it's gone.
Right.
Until 2 weeks later. And I'm like, oh, right.
I have this thing about me where I just simply love being creative.
Yes.
I mean, I love making things up. I love writing short stories. I love being creative. And I actually can get lost in my creativity. So that made me
I have a great poem for a meetup poem.
Yes.
And this was inspired by another friend that I have that like sometimes when we talk, it's just like, dang, I feel that energy. And I feel the same energy with you. And it's called Dope AF, right? Which AF stands. Right. Okay. When two dope people meet, let me start that over again. When two dope people meet up, it affirms the universe. As I doubt my dopeness and the faith in myself trickles from my surface, the ooze slips out and it reaffirms my purpose. Only the realist can see what's happening, a Big Bang theory greater than the rest of me. Evolutions and revolutions all in the same verse, millions of millennia all for another first. Yet a beginning is quickening, so don't blink, the plot is thickening.
Oh. Because the plot in our lives are always thickening.
Always thickening.
If we put forth the effort to make it thick.
Well, I think it thicks regardless, right? It's like a gravy that's been sitting around. But like
well, some people, I don't know.
I think it thicks, but a lot of people abandon the thickness. You know what I mean? Like the plot thickens and you can thin it out too. Yeah. Or you can abandon it. Like, that didn't turn out so well, so I'm just gonna get rid of it.
This is not in the same vein, but for some reason
it brings you around to it.
It brings me around to this poem that I just recently wrote, because I think that we all have a bigness. That's not even a word. A greatness about us. I think we all have a greatness about us. And I think we should be appreciated in our greatness. And I think that appreciation starts with us as an individual, knowing how great we are, knowing what we're bringing to the table, you know? So when I came back from vacation, I was just talking to one of my coworkers and I said, they asked me, they said, Did you enjoy vacation? I said, yeah. Did you miss me? And their response was, I miss our little chats.
Oh.
Oh.
Like, no, I didn't miss. I mean, sure.
Wait. Our little chats. And I immediately, I write through inspiration.
Yes.
And I wrote this, and I'm going to break it down after I read it.
Give us the little chat.
You missed me.
Is it called Little Chat?
No, it's called You Missed Me with a big question mark. Because I just found that just like, let me read the poem, and I'm going to break it down to come back to what you said. I miss our little chats. Ooh, sorry. Hey, little chats. Laugh out loud. Okay. Not me. You miss our chats. Laugh out loud. Not me. Wow. So you know that's it for you, right? Because when I'm gone, when my presence is not there, you're supposed to miss all of me. Not some of me, especially not my chats with you. So I'll give you something to do. Miss me. Yeah. All of me. I'm gone. Goodbye. Really? Yes. Yeah. Goodbye. And that poem, some may think of it in a different way, but that poem is basically saying, I don't have time to sit in a space that I'm not appreciated entirely.
That I'm your little chat. I'm your daily chat. And like, okay, cute. Like, I appreciate that, but like,
yeah, that cute just drives me because excuse me?
Right? I get that. And
don't minimize me and I work too hard for my greatness and all that I am. Like when I see you, I see Heidi.
Hey.
So there's nothing one thing specific. Right. I'm not. I don't even know you that long to say, oh, I miss our podcast. No, I miss Heidi.
Yes, I don't just miss. I miss everything. Like all our interactions. Yeah. And we haven't really chatted for a little while. Right. And like coming back to it, it's like it's just as if we never stopped, And I miss all of that. It's not like I was like, oh, I do miss Cindy. I miss Cindy.
And that's my point.
And I was like, are you back from vacation yet? In my head, I was like, wait, she's on vacation. I forgot to tell her, have a good vacation. But I know and it was out
you,
there.
And that's the thing. And even though you and I both, everybody has something. Everybody's busy. Everybody, don't specify one thing you miss about me. Especially something that's, and I'm a chatty patty.
How are we going to bring it to one, right?
I chat all the time.
I chat with strangers.
My dad.
We chat with strangers.
Exactly. My dad has this way that he says, when you were born and all the other babies were in the nursery, the only one that was crying was you. We just knew you were going to be a talker. He says that to everybody. But the thing is, going back to your poem, what was the title again? I'm sorry.
That poem was Dope AF.
And you are dope.
You are
and
dope.
And that's, thank you. And that's how everybody should recognize you in your entirety. Do not, anyway, we have so much more.
So I actually, and here's the thing, like you saying that, I actually have a poem called When I'm Gone, right? And it kind of is, it was more of like that whole sort of a relationship. I'm feeling it starting to end a little bit. Right. And guess what? You're going to miss me when I'm gone. So here we go. Sure. When I'm gone. Mm-hmm. You're going to miss me when I'm gone. The song quietly plays in the back of my mind as I come to terms with the reality. Then it hits me. One day, we'll come to an impasse. It will be built on my insecurities and your ability to take advantage of them. I've been here before, more times than I'd like to admit, but this time I realize how much I offer. Here's the truth. You're going to miss me when I'm gone, when my laugh fades and my smile recedes and they turn sour, full of pain and silence. But perhaps you already miss me. My vibrance has dwindled, overshadowed by the sorrow. Perhaps you long for what was once there, the confidence instead of the shadows. Perhaps you'll realize that the darkness was always there. The joy is actually temporary, or maybe it's the other way around. The joy is always there, and the darkness is actually temporary. They go together and are in a continuous motion, constantly trying to overpower the other. Perhaps you'll feel betrayed by a vision of what could have been rather than the shell of what once was. Perhaps you'll regret all the moments that you could have said something but didn't, when you could have curbed the pain, turn it around. You're going to miss me if you already don't, and the deep joy that comes from my light, the love that emanates for all to enjoy. Perhaps you'll feel how lost I am and will care enough to help me with directions, or maybe the cost will be too high and we will part ways to find a new map, route, or destination.
Wow. You're going to miss me when I'm gone.
You're going to miss me when I'm gone. Like, there was a time when I didn't feel that way. When I felt like my presence wasn't felt for people. Like, when I didn't think that I was that I was significant,
And it's so important, and I love this platform that we have because we're just going to interchange through so much poetry.
Oh, so yeah,
and that
that's what we do. We just inspire. Like,
yeah, we do,
boom,
because
boom,
as you were
boom.
reading that one, it made me think of this one I have, and this is called Travel Knots.
Okay.
Would you come to visit me if I moved to Bismarck, North Dakota? How about Sioux City, Iowa, off the border of Nebraska? Huh? Huh? Would you love me enough to come visit me in the four corners of the earth? Or would I only see you within a 5-block radius in a town known to your convenience and complacity? Tell me, am I important enough for you to come check on me if my love and my life I breathe is far, far, far away? Or someday, due to distance, will you just fade away?
Yeah. Wow. Snaps.
Yeah, thanks. And
That's just a nice, soft, like.
So it's so important
Yeah.
because, and it goes back to the theme of today's podcast, something new.
Something
Because
new.
every time you meet a person, they are something new.
Yeah.
That person you have never met before, they are a new person in your life. And I never think that person should ever become to a point where they're devalued in your eyes.
Absolutely. And the thing is, as you move through life with someone, like my best friend and I have been best friends for like 23 years. And I have another very, very good friend, like another best friend. Hey, Bob. We call each other Bob. And I have another.
Both call each other Bob?
Yeah, we both call each other Bob.
Okay, too cute.
That's not our real names.
Right, absolutely. Right.
Yeah. Bob is like a real thing. And then my other best friend who I've known since 7th grade, 25, 30 years. And through that, there are times that we go through where there's something new within that too. Every time we have a different feeling, that's something new. That's a chance to like regenerate our friendship, our relationship, our whatever,
new. Absolutely.
And there have been times where we didn't talk every day. We still don't, but I mean, there have been times where we didn't talk for months or even maybe a couple years at a time. And like, it's not that we didn't like each other. It's just, life
Things happen. Life happens.
We are adults. We are parents. We are in different cities, different states, like it just happens. So those new things aren't just for new people.
No, it's
something new. And in your relationship, that you just celebrated your anniversary. Hello.
13 years.
Woo.
We're 13 years in. Now I'm looking forward to 15 years. But we're 13 years in. So shout out to my anniversary. Happy anniversary. He's probably looking at the video like,
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
But even within that, there's something new. And there's always something new that pops up.
No, it really is. Because even with this being the 13th year, so many new things. And we just turned 13 years back March 5th.
Yes.
And so many new things have happened since March 5th.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like even new things with our personality. Yeah. Or just whole new things.
Because we grow and we change. We do. And I have this poem, kind of going,
absolutely.
This is a lot of my early kind of mid poetry is I want to make this collection. I haven't done it, but where it's like that feeling of the end of a relationship and then the actual ending, the devastation, and then moving into those new beginnings, right? Wow. And this sort of like, this kind of goes along all of that. It's called A Love Letter to the End. Because it's not that horrible. Let me just read it.
Absolutely.
Success is not measured by the way something ends, but by the lessons learned throughout. For that, I am grateful. I have learned that I am able to love and that I am confident and worthy and valuable. For that, I am grateful. I have learned the depths of my insanity and come to terms with my vulnerability. I have learned that I'm capable of joy and strength and being bold. I have learned that to find your authentic self means to jump into the scariest depths, and it turns out they are full of love and boundless joy, and for that, I am grateful. I have understood myself without understanding and have pushed myself when I wanted to give up. I have found solace in the ideas, values, and strength that have come my way that I will fully never know. For that, I am grateful. Success is not measured by the way something ends, but by the lessons learned along the way. With grace and understanding, forgiveness and love, it's time to let myself move on.
Heidi! No, you know why I like that so much? Yeah. Do you know how long it takes to get there?
Oh my God, I do. That was my second
That
marriage.
takes a lot of time to get there because and especially when you talk relationships and everything like that, You're talking about two total different individuals, and they're trying to merge, and it could be the biggest job, because you know what happens? You don't even know yourself.
Yes.
That's the funniest thing about being in a relationship. You have no clue of who you are, and every day you are turning into something new.
Right.
I mean, Cindy has gone through so many Cindys. We don't want to go there.
I'm just starting to understand, 10 years ago myself. Like, and I'm already at like 3 different variants of that. You know what I mean? And I've learned through the years, as you get older, you kind of learn how to recognize these new things in yourself, because you value all of those versions of yourself and how they lead into each other.
Because
I think that leads into our something new, right?
Cindy has, it does.
It's time to let ourselves.
Cindy has evolved in so many ways. I've gotten in touch with so many Cindys. Like, me and Cindy have done so much together. I like her.
Yeah.
You know, she's cool. And I like hanging out with her. You know?
Yeah.
Total third party conversation.
No, but it's absolutely true.
You know, I like that, because when you're in a relationship, I do believe you do have to find yourself constantly.
Yeah.
But speaking about that, what you just made me think about. This poem is called... This poem is called Paradise of Love. Mm-hmm. And the reason I want to read this one right behind that one is because when we first get into a relationship, we're really all about just pouring of ourselves.
Yes.
And you know what? If you can ever remember that time that you were in that newness of the relationship and you just gave yourself, and you were so flighty, you just moved like a feather and everything like that. That's a good memory to always have.
And you think you'll never
leave from that space.
Leave that space.
Oh, you do, because that's an awesome space to be in.
I know, but you think that it's never possible to move on from that. I do remember thinking, like, in one of my relationships, like, why does nobody want to hold hands all the time? I want to hold hands with them all the time. Like, who? Why? When does this happen? I don't understand. And then it happened, and it was fine. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, we're not in love with each other anymore. It just was. And, that was a love letter to the end of our relationship.
Right.
But that relationship was so powerful. And even my first marriage was so powerful for myself and, for learning about myself. And it's not about the other person for those things, right?
It's about you.
It's about the way you interact with that and the way that you build with other people and the way that you don't build with other, recognizing where you've misstepped, where you've done all those things.
True story. True.
It's beautiful. And I'm so grateful to recognize those things.
And I like that. I really just before I read this book,
yes,
please. I want you to read the beginning line, because I like the beginning line of what you said.
That first stanza: success is not measured by the way something ends, but by the lessons learned throughout. For that, I'm grateful.
And I'm going to go right into this one.
Please.
This is a lesson of remembering the good times.
Yeah.
Because this one is called Paradise of Love. One day we woke up and we were stuck together. Mind, body, and soul. The whole day became ours: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 2 snacks. We watched TV, played cards, told jokes, took naps, lots of naps. We talked to no one, no phone calls, no messages, emails, texts, no nothing. The blinds stayed closed, no noise. Only the sounds of us breathing and talking and laughing and snoring occasionally. That day was so sweet. It was just us, lost in the day, giving it all away, all commitments, obligations, and stress. It was the gratification at its best. We created a new holiday. We decided to be lazy. It was our day. It was so beautiful to shut the whole world out for you. And I hope you felt the same way too. It was a once-in-a-lifetime moment, one left to memory, the best memory ever. To be lost in paradise, disconnected yet connected to the best place ever. Lost, hidden, and swept away in the paradise of love.
I love that.
Because we don't ever want to forget those moments.
No.
Of that. We never want to forget.
It's such a strong feeling. It's such a new, strong feeling, right? And it's not that we've never been there before, because at our age, we've been in multiple relationships and we've been in that feeling many times. And not just romantically, but just even with our kids and our people, our friends and everything, we get in these moments. But to hold that moment. Like
in
I
our
really
memory
like
is
that.
like so great.
Yeah, I love it.
I love this moment that we're having here. Because this hi Heidi. Because this is our first debut.
Yeah.
I want to take a few minutes to tell about ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So please go first. I want to just kind of what do you want the audience to know about you?
Oh gosh.
And I'll come behind you and talk a little bit about me. And
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Heidi, and I grew up in Ohio.
Okay.
But I have lived in Washington Heights for the past about 23 years. I wrote several poems about that as well. But I've lived in the same apartment all that time. My kids grew up there, everything. The longest I've ever been somewhere. And sometimes I think about that and I'm like, how is that even possible?
Right. Absolutely.
And poetry has been something I have kind of always been there, but not really recognized as anything special for me.
Right.
You know, I was like, I'm just another so-and-so writing some words, you know? And then this open mic opportunity came up and I was like, what would I even do? And here we are. And I connect with people in poetry and strangers, you and I. And speaking to that, we just, before we came here, we were at another location and we just randomly were talking to somebody and this man pulls out some poetry he had just written on the back of a receipt.
Out of the pocket. He did.
Poetry connects us. And there's so many other things too that connect us. And but poetry is that binding thing. And that's kind of where we really not just jumped off because we had other things that connected us.
We still do. We have so many other things.
Oh my God. Yeah. And so many we haven't discovered because, we just
I agree.
But just jump in. And I don't know if that really said who I was.
It did. I'm Cindy.
Yeah. Hi, Cindy.
Brooklyn born through and through. Yeah. I've been writing all my life. I love to write. I write all the time. I'm always writing. I just discovered a part of myself that I have a lot of overlapping projects, and this is one. So right now, I'm just working to flesh those projects out, and I just realized that what I'm doing, I'm building an estate. I realized that. I'm building an estate, and that estate includes my books, my poetry, things of that nature that, I just want my generations to come, that if there's anything in them that's creative and they want to do, I don't want them to ever be afraid to go forth and be great and whatever. Because I do believe that God has given all of us a creative power in ourselves that we have. And sometimes we're too afraid to just say, hey, world, this is me. I might not be a mechanic, but I'm a poet. You know what I mean? I might not can sing, and I have that poem too.
Or it might be both. You know what I mean?
I might not can do these things, but I can do that, you know? And so that's where I'm at right now. And
it's so good to be able to represent, like representation matters in a way that like someone seeing them do something that you've not seen someone do before, like that can give you that space to do the same thing.
So I could describe myself through a poem.
Okay.
This poem is called I Am, and it's in my book, Spoken Word by Cindy, A Dream Come True.
I might have
That's
one too.
On Amazon.com, xleebrits.com, anywhere.com. You can find me, look it up.
We'll put the link somewhere. I don't know, wherever we're doing this.
We have to get everything done. We didn't even do our logo yet. We're not going to talk about that. But this is the poem that's in my book. It's called I Am. I am the poet. Cindy the Poet Calderon. I have to say it like that because I get corrected about that name all the time. So I'm serious. Rewind. I am the poet. Cindy the Poet Calderon. I am so because I know so. I claimed it, so I named it. My spectacular title, my definition, my gift, my talent. I'm thankful. I've been told. I've been asked. I've been credited for my poetry. For me, it's simplicity, a blessing. Too many, a lesson. Believe in yourself. Play the cards you're dealt. Don't wait. Validate. Pat yourself on the back. Say, I'm proud. Say it loud. Carry it, protect it, nourish it, respect it. You will then see your value is worth more than a tiny sparrow. You will hold it. You will know it. And one day you will say, I am.
Ooh.
So that's me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And much more. We'll be talking about that much more.
Yeah, we will.
I just wanted to give a brief introduction to everyone.
I have a poem like that too, I realized, but it's not here.
Oh.
It's in my notebook. And so, we'll do another episode with that for sure. We have several episodes coming down the tubes.
Episodes. So just to tell everybody about, this is called, again, Coffee and Conversations with a twist.
With a twist.
And for us, the twist is poetry and any other thing we want to twist with.
Right.
And we're looking at 10 episodes. We're looking to meet. Yeah. We're looking to meet right now. We're looking to meet once a month. Only because my schedule, Heidi's schedule, location, all kinds of stuff involved. I didn't want to go into this. But hey, listen, once we start posting it, if we go big, I mean, listen,
we do.
We may be some serious
we
podcasters.
Can do whatever pace we want to do. I'm just saying, this is our world,
This
Cindy.
is our world. So, but for right now, in all modesty, we're gonna do it just. So our next episode will be next month. I am looking to bring on guests.
Yeah, me too. I have several.
If you have several guests, we'll flesh it out. We'll talk about
one
it.
One being my boy Dwayne, who put us on to the 30 on 30.
I would love Dwayne to come by.
He is on Instagram, Blurred Words. I think I've shared it with you. I've already talked to him. He's definitely into it. He's not living in New York at the moment, but we'll work it out. We'll talk more about that.
Okay.
He and Pablo, who his poetry name is Khalik Sim, that's our poet trio. They call me Fury, call him Zen and Khalik, and we've just supported each other through our poetry journey. Right. I would love to have an episode.
Oh man, I would love to have my children on.
Oh yes,
my kids on. I would love to interview them. I want to do an episode where I ask them, "What is it like to have your mom doing all this stuff?" I want to see what they're going to say.
I love it.
They've been very supportive, so I just want to send some shout outs, and you as well. Please send some shout outs to anyone you want to send shout outs to.
Yeah,
and I want to send shout out definitely to everyone who has supported me in all of my creativity, whether it was my shows, people came out and supported my shows, bought the book, purchased the book, just shouted me out, just believed in me and look at me and really respect me and my craft. I really appreciate them. Definitely want to give a shout out to everyone that has supported the poet. So.
I also just shout out to everyone who's even recognized, whether you feel like you've supported me or not, like anyone who's ever recognized that there's something interesting or something that you connect with within me or within something that I've said, like that's enough for me, really, to keep moving through things. And some people, we have a time and place where it's several months or several years, or we come back to each other, and it's just this kind of, I've learned to accept this beautiful sort of synchronicity that happens within that.
Yeah.
And, speaking of shows, like people come into your shows and stuff, we've both done open mics, but we have also been talking about doing our own showcase.
Yeah. I want to bring that too. We're going to be talking about that as well. And what we're going to...
No solid plans, but we really want to look in like August.
Absolutely. And that's what like I said, I've been doing. I've been overlapping a lot of projects in my brain.
Yes.
My brain just kind of does this. I mean, it could be 3 in the morning and all of a sudden I'm like sitting, I'm like, calm down, girl, calm down. I'm like, calm down, girl, calm down. You got too much going on. Just calm down. But and I have a secret reveal. I'm not going to say it now, but I have a secret reveal. Very few know what it is. It's coming out in June. I cannot wait. I'm looking for some major support with this because you have to constantly reinvent yourself. Yeah. And this is a new task for me. I'm working with some very dynamic people behind the scenes, and I'm afraid. I'm not scared to say I'm scared because it's a new leap. It's something completely different, something I've never done before.
Yeah.
So it's coming out in June, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't have any creative projects coming up, except for Stanley and the book I'm making with Stanley.
Yeah.
It's not a published book. I'm just making a scrapbook to send back. But that creative energy is what I like to put out there. And you have experience with this, and I do want to combine like poems and things like that. And I would love to pair it with like art of people that I know that are artists, or art of people, or different things in my life that I've just connected with in different ways, and all of that. Like I
think that
we have a lot to move
What
through.
I like is that we're doing this a month apart. So within a 30-day span, we can just kind of hit back and forth with any, because we just came up with today's theme today, which is something new. So and I'm glad we vibed out. But in our next episodes, we'll tighten it up some more in our next episodes that we have. Where like we said, we're gonna have some guests come out. We're gonna showcase some products. It's a lot of things I
and
have
have
planned to
specific
do.
poems. And we did. This is totally a vibe out episode.
This was a vibe out episode. Yeah,
as we're kind of finding our footing with
absolutely.
it. Both of our first podcasts.
First
ever.
podcast.
We're in a studio, y'all.
Oh, let's give it up for
Podcasting
Brooklyn Podcast Studio because they were great, and thank you guys so much. And so if you guys want to use them, please, you can Google it out.
Yeah.
It's right here in Brooklyn. It's really kind of easy to find. Just kind of shoot them a message that you want to book the studio. I think they do everything online. That's how we did everything. Yeah. We did it online. So please come out. And I think we get a discount if somebody used them. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we'll look into that.
Promo, right?
Make sure you mention Cindy and
Heidi. Coffee and conversation. But this is a really, really good moment. I love it. I feel good. It loaded up some endorphins in my brain. I love it. And so if you guys are interested in doing a podcast, please look them up and come out. The studio was really nice. I like the studio.
I do too. I feel so official.
Yeah, we feel official. It's so funny because I was leaving work today and I went to the bathroom to tidy up and I was like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. Right? I was like, wow. It felt good.
Like I said, I had this whole manic moment. Like I got work done. And as I'm thinking about the podcast, I'm like, I'm getting a tattoo today.
Right.
And then oh my gosh, it was such a last minute moment. And I did. And it's so cute, guys.
Wow.
I love my tattoo. Its name is Sparkles. So I got my tattoo and then I wrote 3 of these tiny poems as I'm waiting for it. And it was just this creative burst.
Right.
Of a little manic, but whatever. We know how to deal with that. Right. And so one of those poems that I wrote today, there's actually 2. Yeah. One's teeny tiny, but this one is kind of along this lines.
Okay.
Untitled, all these, but the name of today is Yes and Okay.
Okay.
The game of yesterday was carry on, a phrase that means so much but somehow so little. Carry on your burdens, carry on your strife, carry on your unfulfilled dreams, drama, and carry on with life. Weigh the options to carry on and hold your grudges in your carry on. Keep them close in case of emergency and the overhead in case of a disaster. Ready to grab to keep you afloat, ready to pull you along. When you can't carry them, they will carry you. And that, I feel like there's more I can add to that, but that was it can just inspire our next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Wow. I had a ball. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I had a ball.
It's been great.
It has been really.
How are we on time? Yeah. Just.
I think that I think
we're.
I think
what's that?
I think
we're good.
Yeah, he's keep talking.
Yeah, he's. Yeah. Do you write any poetry?
Yeah. No. I'm just listening to you guys.
He's a great engineer. He's great at what he does.
I will say this. Before we close out.
Yes.
I actually had wrote this poem. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I wrote this.
This is the day for that. This
is the day to. I'll key up some.
Footing.
Yeah, I'll key up some, and if anybody wants to hear a particular poem, you have my book and. We come, please.
Or a theme.
Yeah, or a theme.
We both have several poems that they range from so many. I have some serious poems that are deep, hard poems, and then
some
more lighthearted poems.
Oh, I have funny ones. I have
we have the gamut. So if anyone out there too also has a theme you want to suggest, I would love to do that day where it's a
theme day,
a shout out, or we have pull out of a hat a theme, and
because by that time we should be able to key up different platforms that we're on.
That can be a little.
That would be nice. I like that. That would be really nice, right?
Fun, right? Yeah.
So this is a poem that I had wrote. And it was called "I Rushed Home to Write This Poem." I rushed home to write a poem to put some words on wax. I spent all day figuring out some facts of life, realizing it's not about trouble and strife. Is about realizing, recognizing, and coming full circle with the problem. Is it a you, me, we, she, they, he problem? Or is it a problem at all? It's just something called life. Wrap it all up in a poem, come home and drop it on wax. Shuffle out all the facts and smile, sleep, wake, and do it all over again. It's just this thing called life. We, she, he, them, we cannot figure it out. Day by day by day, it all works itself out. I rushed home to write this poem about this thing called life.
Woo.
So, thanks, Heidi. So,
right. about this thing called
this
life.
thing called life.
Right.
And just live it and just have fun. I say that just to have fun. If you encounter something new, embrace it.
Yeah.
Do whatever I don't care if it's
you can throw a
sewing.
tantrum about it too,
Yeah,
and embrace that. Like embrace your tantrum. Embrace how it
it.
makes you feel.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Move through it.
Move through it.
Because life isn't forever, you know,
No.
and the moments that we have with each other are not forever either.
Yeah.
And even if anything, and embrace that,
and we're here to
move
pump
through it.
positivity. That's the good thing about both of us. And I appreciate you, Heidi. I appreciate
you too.
I do. I really appreciate your poems.
Thank
You have some favorites. I thought
Uh-huh.
she was gonna drop some favorites that I have, but
I didn't today because you were doing the something new vibe, right? Like we'll get to those favorites because even the
she
old
has
stuff
this
I read.
one. I gotta tell them just
what is
one,
it?
and then don't do it today.
Okay,
make them wait for
next
it.
time.
Swish.
Swish.
Let me tell
Swish.
you, when you read that, you had me at
the pendulum.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's
I
a
love
performance
that.
piece for sure.
Yeah, but the fact
I
that
didn't write it for a performance piece, but as soon as it hit that paper, it was like, no, this isn't out
No,
loud.
that
This
was
has to
really
live
nice.
out loud.
And it did when I
Yeah.
heard it. So you have I'm gonna let you know you have
Thank
some
you.
favorites, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
So we'll do
much.
an episode where it's like Cindy and Heidi's favorites.
Okay.
And we'll like
Okay.
exchange, you know, like
One of us
what
gotta
do
write
we-
all this down. Because,
I know. Well, we have the
know.
recording of it, and we
Okay.
can like
right.
listen
We'll go
back
back
and
over. Okay.
we'll,
Perfect.
we'll take notes on it.
Perfect,
right?
perfect,
Because
perfect.
I forgot half the stuff we already said.
Perfect.
Me and Bob, you know, my best friend Bob, we call it Dave. Those forgetful moments.
Yes.
We're like, Dave's at it again.
Mhm.
You know, where'd my keys go, Dave? You know?
Yes.
That's yeah. So I have a little one to close us out.
Yeah, please. And then I have to say goodbye.
Yeah, we got to say goodbye to Stanley
We have
and
to say goodbye to
everyone.
Stanley, and yeah, you can.
My
I don't have anything to close out, but you
My
close out
last
on your
teeny
poem, so-
tiny of the day, because
Yes.
you know what? It's spring now.
Yes.
And we've had some summer days and we've had some winter days, and we're feeling a little spring. Finally made its way. So this one I wrote today. Hey, spring, give me a ring. Send a little dial my way. A phone call to let me know you're here to stay.
Hey, spring.
Hey, spring.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. If you guys could say goodbye to Stanley.
Bye, Stanley. He's going back to his home next week.
I thought that whole concept
I've been saying
about
that for
Stanley.
3 weeks.
No, we didn't do anything to flatten him out, did we?
No, we didn't.
And we didn't name my invisible friend either, did we?
Did we name it Stanley?
No, we did not name my invisible friend.
No, that's for you to. Its name can change every time.
Oh,
Right?
bye, Stanley.
Bye, Stanley.
Heidi, thank you
Bye,
so much.
Cindy.
Make it home safe tonight.
You too.
And until next time, this has been Coffee and Conversations, and we're your poetic team. I'm Cindy.
I'm Heidi.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.